Hello, fellow flamenco enthusiasts, and welcome to Everything Flamenco. I'm your host, La Hugo, and November is National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. Some say June, some say it's September, some say it's November, but since it's November, I'm going to say it's November. So this is episode 27, and today we're going to talk about how dancing, including flamenco dancing, can help those living with dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, not Dementia Disease Awareness Month, but I'm just going to use it as a blanket term. So, dementia is an umbrella term for various cognitive impairments that affect memory and thinking and social abilities that are severely enough that they interfere with daily life. And of the different forms of dementia, Alzheimer's disease is the most common form. So, what happens is that as the brain deteriorates, individuals often experience confusion and memory loss and changes in mood and behavior. And that can be very challenging for the individual as well as for their loved ones. So my grandmother, for example, she has dementia. I'm not sure which form, but she's got dementia. And she oftentimes, she gets very confused, and she's at that point now where she doesn't even have moments of clarity where she can maybe remember specific details of individuals or things like that. She might just know that she recognizes you, but she doesn't necessarily know who you are. So, for example, she will ask about my husband. She'll know that I'm married, but she won't know his name, or she'll maybe think I'm still dating. So, and I mean, I've been married for many years. So, you might wonder now, how did we get to a place where dance became a recognized form of therapy for dementia? So, first, I just wanted to chat about dancing in the past. For example, it's been a part of the human culture for centuries. It first originated as a communal activity, so used in ancient rituals and celebrations and storytelling. And there's even been depictions of dancing found in paintings that are so old, on rocks and in caves and things like that. And it's believed that people used dancing to communicate even before written languages were developed. I mean, even if you think about the modern way of dancing now and with flamenco, it's very expressive. So flamenco, for example, I mean, you can convey anger, you can convey joy, you can convey, cheekiness and flirting and strength and also femininity and softness. So depending on what the message is that you're trying to convey. So even today, we still use that. And you also find that as an audience member, for example, you will connect more with dancers on a stage that really tap into themselves and give of themselves when they dance. So dancing has been a way of communicating for many, many, many years. And, you know, it was used to communicate even before written languages. So it marked key events also like births and deaths and marriages. And also it was used to pass on stories from generation to generation because, you form patterns in the brain. So a certain dance can convey a certain event that happened in the past. So even think about, the rhythmic movements of indigenous tribes or elegant waltzes in grand ballrooms. And like I said, the way that we express ourselves when we dance flamenco, it's always served as a powerful form of expression. And, even in today's day, in the modern age, not only, the communities that we know, but even with the tribes that still live in the jungle and that are seen as primitive. Even today, those cultures can still, use dance as a very prominent way of communication in everyday life. So going back to flamenco again, but you can use this for any type of dancing, but with flamenco, for example, with the Romani people, they used it as a form of expression and working through the emotions, because those of you that are a bit familiar with the flamenco history in Spain and things like that, the Romani people were really hated by the Spanish people, and they were ostracized, and these people really had a lot of hardships, and they used flamenco to work through these deep emotions during the difficulties of being accepted and trying to survive with their families in a country that didn't want them there. And what I read up is also that they said that even during the Spanish Civil War, the Romani used flamenco to critique Spain's political and economic and cultural problems, which I didn't know before, which was quite interesting. And if you fast forward to the 20th century, for example, then you start to see the emergence of structured dance programs. And many of these programs began in community centers and dance schools, where instructors recognized the therapeutic benefits of movement. Dance therapy as a formal practice really gained traction in the 1940s, when therapists started to incorporate movement into their work with patients. But now we come back to the question again, like, how exactly does dance help with dementia? So in order to understand that, you need to look at how dementia really affects the brain. So as stated before with Alzheimer's as well, dementia leads to the deterioration of brain cells and neural connections, particularly in the areas that are responsible for your memory, your learning, and your coordination. And this can cause not only memory loss, but also a decrease in motor skills and emotional regulation. And that is where dance is so powerful, because it really engages various areas of the brain simultaneously. Because when you dance, you're not just thinking about steps, you're also putting those steps through your body. So your body has to move in alignment with what you are thinking. So if you learn a step or a certain move, you are engaging your brain as well as your body. Um, and you're also processing the music. So if you're dancing with music, you're listening to the music, trying to keep in time with the music, thinking about what the movement is that you need to do, and getting your body to do that. And that is something that I really love about flamenco as well. That's why it's such a good stress reliever. Is I always find that while I am in a class, I have to focus so much on what I'm doing. I don't have the capacity to think about anything else. I don't feel stressed while I'm dancing, because I'm really focusing on the movement and keeping in time and things like that. And that is also something that's very helpful for individuals that suffer from dementia. So, and on top of that, when you are taught how to dance, you also get to interact with others, which creates bonding experience, and will make you feel less lonely. Oftentimes I think, or I would think, that a person suffering from dementia can feel very lonely because they don't remember their loved ones. So while you are in a therapy, you are engaging with your instructor, together, and you are creating bonding experiences. And on top of that, also music makes us feel good because it releases stress from the body and it boosts levels of serotonin, which is the feel good hormone. And this multifaceted activity really activates the brain in ways that can help slow the progression of cognitive decline. There was, for example, a study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease where they found that participants who engaged in regular dance classes showed improvements in memory and cognitive skills compared to those who didn't. So, I mean, what do you think? What does a dance class for individuals with dementia look like? This is something that I actually feel very passionate about, not only dementia, because like I said, my grandmother suffers from dementia, but also our older generations. Um, I'm always thinking about, how flamenco can even be beneficial to our older generations and how it can be used as a form of therapy, not only for dementia, but also to increase muscle strength and perhaps hopefully bone density, or prevent further decline of bone density, because with flamenco, I mean, it doesn't always have to be hard footwork. It can also just be body movements, things that we have spoken about a little bit in the past. But yeah, so specifically with dementia, I mean, these classes or therapies are designed to be inclusive and accessible. And what they do is they would often incorporate familiar songs from the participants' younger years. I mean, if you just think about your past, which songs, make you remember certain things that have happened in your life, good memories or things like that. So the same they try to do in these therapies, using familiar songs, which can then spark certain activity in the brain, which can then also help, with forming those cognitive pathways. So music can really evoke powerful memories and emotions, and instructors may use simple choreography, not necessarily something overly complicated, but designed to encourage participants to express themselves, because I think that expression is also important because it gives you uh, more confidence, and it can also evoke good emotions. And the goal with that is not perfection, and it's about moving and being happy and connecting with others. And these classes are typically held in community centers and senior living facilities, and can even be given online, and they really foster a sense of community. So, I mean, specific benefits, firstly, I've touched on this before, but I mean, there's the physical aspect, because dance really improves coordination and balance, and that will reduce the risk of falls, which is obviously a significant concern for older adults. And when you reach a certain age, oftentimes if you break a hip or something, sometimes the doctors don't even want to operate because they find it too high a risk for people over a certain age. So if you dance and you can strengthen your body, it can really reduce the risk of those type of things. And it strengthens your muscles, which obviously then also can help you to keep upright so you don't fall and break your bones. And then there's also the cognitive boost, like I said. I mean, learning new dance steps or routines, or recalling steps and things, it's really good for the brain. It stimulates the brain, and it creates new neural pathways, and it also strengthens neural pathways. And this mental engagement can really enhance memory and concentration, and can help to counteract some of those cognitive declines that are associated with dementia and the other diseases that fall in that category. And then obviously also social interaction is a really a wonderful benefit of it, because the older generations, as their friends pass away and their families move away and they start their own lives, they might be left behind. So forming part of a community like that, it really, can create wonderful social interactions. And many people with dementia experience isolation and loneliness because they get confused. So dance classes really offer a wonderful space to socialize and to foster relationships, and that can improve emotional well-being. I mean, even if the individual doesn't remember their classmates the next week or the week after, while they are in the moment, that's always something that I also see with my granny. It's like, she might forget 5 minutes later that I was there, but in that moment, she feels loved and she's happy. And that's also where the dance classes are wonderful, because in that moment, they feel a sense of community. And the joy of dancing together can really create a sense of belonging and also reduce feelings of anxiety and depression. And when you share common interest or love for something, it really creates a wonderful bonding experience. So, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I think, just thinking about flamenco, but also dancing in general, how wonderful it is for, to keep you fit and also keep your brain active. It's really a wonderful tool, for therapy. And it's not just about the physical movement. Like I said, it's about the connections that we create and the memories we evoke and the joy that we share, even if it is only in the moment. And dancing really is very unique in that way, to help us connect with ourselves and with others, even when we are facing cognitive challenges. So yeah, this was not really a very strong flamenco themed episode, but I have a very soft spot for, like I said, for the older generation, and especially those that suffer from dementia in some form and feel lonely and isolated. And I really hope that one day, when I don't have to have a full-time job anymore and I can have time to do that, that I'll be able to reach out to those generations and also, help them to feel a sense of belonging and happiness through dancing, probably specifically with flamenco. And thank you for joining me with this episode. Remember, when you are a seasoned dancer just starting, it's never too late. Even if you are already in an old age home, not even a retirement village, you're in an old age home and you have dementia, you can still dance. It's never ever too late. And I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you found it helpful. And I'll chat to you in the next one. Ole!